I want to thank you for joining us this evening. Please know that being invited to have a look at this information puts you in a small percentage of the population. What you are about to hear could be the most important information you may ever know. I'm Jolene. I'm a wife, mom, wellness mentor, and have been enthusiastically passionate about everything you're about to hear for the last 7 years. LifeVantage is the activation company. Before this company, the only thing I'd ever really heard about activating was your credit card. But once you understand what activation means in the body, sorry guys, can you mute?
Am I not muted?
No.
Or
Um, but once you understand what activation means in the body, you start to see how powerful that concept really is. There are thousands of supplement companies out there, but LifeVantage is the only activation company. And that's what makes the next piece so important, because there is a very different approach between simply taking something and actually helping the body make more of what it needs. What we do is take it to make it. We take something so the body can make something. We're empowering the body to do more of its own antioxidants, proteins, peptides, enzymes, and other things it needs for better health. And that's really the key difference, because instead of only giving the body something from the outside, activation is helping the body do more from the inside. And this is why activation is disrupting wellness. There are so many supplement companies out there, and most of them are focused on adding something to the body. You're giving the body an ingredient, you may get a temporary boost, and that effect is limited by how much you take. Think of it a little bit like having an empty glass and pouring something into it. Activation is different. It's more like having a self-filling cup. Instead of only adding something from the outside, we're helping turn on pathways that already exist inside the body. We're turning on genes and supporting the cells to do more of what they were designed to do. And that's really the difference. These numbers honestly blow my mind. And I know at first look, they can just look like a bunch of data on a slide. But when you really start to understand the impact of activation, they're pretty attention grabbing. We have over 115 human clinical and cell studies. More than 5,000 genes are impacted through activation, and more than 15 patents have either been issued or are pending on products we've developed. So this isn't just a concept or an interesting idea. There is a significant amount of science and intellectual property behind what we're talking about. This is really about getting back to the root. If we support healthy cells, those cells help create healthy tissues. Healthier tissues support healthier organs support healthier systems, and ultimately that supports a healthier person. So instead of focusing on a long list of symptoms, conditions, or diseases, we go back to the cellular level. We focus on improving the health of the cells themselves because that's where everything else begins. And that's where activation is so powerful. And it all starts with yellow. We call this yellow pill Protandim NRF2. We started in 2003 with one peer-reviewed published study showing that Protandim could lower oxidative stress by an average of 40% in 30 days. At the time, that was a pretty remarkable claim, and that study is what eventually caught the attention of ABC. And then, in 2005, ABC Primetime came knocking. They had heard that this little company had supposedly discovered the fountain of youth, and essentially they came in to debunk it. They put the product to the test, with the reporter John Quinones taking Protandim NRF2. He was supposed to take it for 30 days, but they came back in 2 weeks, and the results were better than expected. If you haven't seen the ABC Primetime report, ask the person who invited you tonight to send it to you afterwards. It's worth watching, and it still gives me chills after seeing it probably 500 times. But here's what's interesting. We had this breakthrough product sitting on shelves in places like GNC and Walgreens, and it was selling at roughly half a bottle per store. So by 2009, the company was asking, what are we missing? They brought in a marketing expert who watched the ABC report and suggested something that the founder did not want to hear. Move to move the product into person-to-person direct sales or network marketing. The founder initially said absolutely not because of the reputation the industry had. So instead, they tested it 6 months in traditional retail and 6 months through direct sales. Direct sales outperformed retail by more than 600%, and that changed the direction of the company. We've been in direct sales ever since, which is why most people don't discover this product through an ad or by walking past it on a store shelf. They hear about it because someone is willing to open their mouth and say, you need to take a look at this. And I'm really grateful someone did that for me. So, we've talked about this study showing a 40% reduction in oxidative stress, but I haven't actually explained what oxidative stress is or why that matters. We all produce free radicals every single day. They're a normal part of being alive. The problem comes when we have more free radicals than our body's antioxidant defenses can manage. That imbalance is what we call oxidative stress. So, how does the body deal with it? This brings us right back to take it to make it. We take Protandim NRF2, and instead of simply supplying antioxidants from the outside, we activate the NRF2 pathway and help the body increase the body's own antioxidant enzymes. Those are part of the body's own defense system for dealing with free radicals and oxidative stress. And there's something else really important about Protandim. It isn't just that it contains 5 botanicals, it's what happens when those 5 botanicals are combined together in very specific ratios. And this graph shows you exactly what I mean. The 5 botanicals in Protandim NRF2 are 18 times more effective than taking the components separately. Would you choose on this graph, if you could, the red bar or any of the other bars? Many people take these components, but you cannot just go be your own mad scientist. It's already been proven in the blend to get you the results that you are looking for. So what does that actually look like in the body? Protandim NRF2 has been shown to lower oxidative stress by an average of 40% in 30 days. At the same time, we see an increase in some of the body's own antioxidant defenses, glutathione by 300%, superoxide dismutase by 30%, and catalase by 54%. And you don't have to remember those names. What I want you to understand is that these are part of your own body's antioxidant defense system. I sometimes think of them a little bit like Pac-Man. They're part of the cleanup crew helping your body deal with free radicals before those free radicals can create more oxidative stress. So rather than simply giving the body more antioxidants, we're supporting the body in turning up its own antioxidant defenses. So ABC Primetime may have been one of the first really public spotlights on this science, but the research didn't stop there. The third-party research that has accumulated since then has been pretty incredible. It caught the attention of many institutions, very prestigious ones, as you can see by this list. And you can access these studies yourself. There's so much research that if you printed it all out, it would fill a banker's box. One of those studies showed a p-value of 0.0001, meaning if 10,000 people took it, 9,999 would get the anticipated result. That is pretty incredible efficacy. And that matters because oxidative stress is something every single one of us has. As we get older, that oxidative stress load increases. And when the body is dealing with symptoms, conditions, or diseases, that load can be even greater. What makes the research even more impressive is not just how much of it there is, but the caliber of the journals and institutions involved. Protandim was published in Circulation, the Journal of the American Heart Association. At the time of the publication, it was the only natural product ever featured in that journal. Even fish oil hadn't made the cut at the time. And when you look at the institutions that have studied this, the list is pretty remarkable. One I especially like to highlight is the National Institute on Aging. They did a 10-year study on our product and showed that it was the only natural product proven to extend lifespan. That is longevity research. And for a lot of people, this is the first time they've ever heard anything of this. Isn't that amazing? Washington State University described NRF2 as potentially one of the most extraordinary therapeutic and preventative breakthroughs in the history of medicine. NRF2 is considered a master regulator of detoxification, antioxidant, anti inflammatory, and other cytoprotective mechanisms. In simple terms, it helps protect your cells. And when you understand that, you start to see why this pathway has generated so much interest in the research community. Oregon State University explains that when NRF2 detects a problem, it essentially goes back to the nucleus and rings the alarm. From there, it can turn on genes involved in cellular repair, detoxification of carcinogens, protein and lipid metabolism, antioxidant protection, and other important protective processes. The researchers actually referred to NRF2 as a longevity assurance factor. So, you don't have to take my word for how important this pathway is. I think Oregon State University's words carry a little more weight. This is what we call our healthy glow stack. And what makes it so interesting is the synergy between these two products. This isn't just a liquid collagen by itself. We're combining the liquid collagen with NRF2 activation. So you take one little yellow tablet and one liquid collagen shot, and together they create benefits that we don't see in the same way when they're taken individually, though they are great each on their own. There are 10 collagen peptides in the blend, but when we bring these two products together, we're also seeing activation involving 5 different types of collagen. We also see changes in multiple stress response pathways. The stress perpetuation cycle is reduced by almost a third, and collagen density doubles in 8 weeks. So, right from the beginning, I want you to think of Healthy Glow as much more than simply adding collagen. When most people hear collagen, they immediately think hair, skin, and nails. But collagen is so much bigger than that. Think about your bones, tendons, ligaments, discs, joints, cartilage, fascia, muscles, blood vessels, organs, and of course, your skin. It's part of the structural framework of your body. And that's why people can notice changes in places they weren't necessarily expecting. Sometimes it's mobility, recovery, sleep, or simply how their body feels doing everyday things. So when we talk about Healthy Glow, I don't want you to think only about looking younger. We're talking about supporting collagen throughout the body. With our collagen, we get to see some of the changes happening on the outside. But what I really like is that the approach is inside out. What's happening internally is what helps create those visible changes. In the 8-week study, the collagen by itself increased collagen density by 42%. It also increased collagen secretions by 100%, activated 5 different types of collagen, and increased catalase expression by 202%. And this is important because we're not just talking about the usual conversation around collagen for hair, skin, and nails. These results are showing us that the body is responding at a much deeper level. And remember, this was the collagen by itself. The next piece is what happens when we start looking at how those different collagen types function throughout the body. One thing I find fascinating about collagen is that it isn't just one protein doing one job. There are at least 28 different types of collagen in the body, and they all have different roles. Type 1 is important for strength and structure, including bones and connective tissue. Type 2 is important for cushioning and supporting our joints. Type 3 is found in areas like blood vessels, muscles, and organs. So when you look at this slide, you can start to see why collagen is really a total body conversation. What's exciting to me is that we're not simply providing collagen peptides and hoping the body uses them. we're seeing increased activity in multiple collagen-related genes. In other words, the body is actually being encouraged to participate in the process. That changes the conversation from simply replacing what's been lost to supporting the body's own collagen building processes. Building collagen is only half of the equation. Protecting the collagen you have is equally as important. MMP1 and MMP9 are involved in collagen breakdown. These are genes we have in our body, and they make the collagen breakdown. So in the study, we saw reductions in the activity associated with both of those pathways. So now we're looking at both sides of the equation, supporting construction while also reducing some of the unnecessary breakdown. Otherwise, you end up on that seesaw where you're constantly trying to build collagen while the body is breaking it down on the other end. And this is where the Healthy Glow story goes beyond collagen itself. A patent issued March 31st, 2026 addresses activation of cellular signaling genes in innate inflammatory pathways. So now we're not only talking about supplying collagen, building collagen, and protecting collagen, we're also looking at cellular signaling and pathways involved in the body's stress and inflammatory response. To me, this is one of the most exciting pieces of the science because it brings the whole story together. Build it, protect it, and influence the cellular environment around it. Some people will have quick results, while others can take many months. What you can see from the images is that it's important to document and keep notes, take pictures often, as you never know what you are going to experience. This one is an incredible story. This is from a fellow consultant, and he also happens to be a chiropractor. These two x-rays were taken farther apart than the amount of time he had actually been on the Healthy Glow stack, but they happened to be the most recent images available for comparison. By the time of the second x-ray, he had been on the Healthy Glow for about 6 months. He had suffered significant spinal injuries when he was 18 years old, and because of that, chiropractic care had been a regular part of his life, and also why he became a chiropractor. He was used to getting adjusted 4 or 5 times a week. Then he added the collagen to his NRF2 stack. Over time, he started noticing that he didn't feel like he needed adjustments as often. Eventually, he realized an entire month had gone by without one, which was really unusual for him. Around that same 6-month period, he had also lost 50 pounds. He wasn't doing anything dramatically different. He was living his normal life, but he had added the Healthy Glow stack. So when he realized it had been a month since his last adjustment, they decided to take another x-ray to see what was going on with his spine. And when they compared the images, they noticed that his disc height had improved. Now, 50 pounds of weight loss can absolutely make a difference. And I want to be clear that this doesn't mean the same thing is going to happen for everyone. But this is what happened for him. He's in his 60s. He had a long history with his spinal injury. And after adding Healthy Glow, he needed fewer adjustments, lost about 50 pounds, and showed improvement on disc height in the follow-up x-ray. The body is an incredible healing being. And when you give it the right tools, the right support, and enough time to actually do something with them, incredible things can happen. Sometimes they really do feel like miracles. We just have to give the body the opportunity and sometimes be willing to look for changes we might not have expected. So, we can activate cells, systems, the brain, the gut, tissues, mitochondria, the immune system, your skin, your hair, even your pets. Tonight, I focused on 2 products, but activation isn't limited to those 2 areas. This slide gives you a quick overview of some of the other products we have available, because there may be other areas you're looking to support too. I kind of compare it to shopping on Amazon. You start with the thing that makes sense for you, and then you discover, oh, since I'm already here, maybe this would help too. And that's a little bit what happens with our store. You might come in for one product, then realize there are other things that can support different needs. And over time, you may find you're able to get more of what works for you all in one place. And remember, Every body is different. Your body is as unique as your fingerprint. So pay attention to the positive changes, whether they're tiny, subtle shifts, or something much bigger. We often think, we often talk about allowing roughly a month of consistent use for every decade of life. So if you're 30, think around 3 months. If you're 60, around six. And this isn't a magic bullet. We can't take one thing, eat McDonald's, lie on the couch, and expect to feel amazing. That doesn't exist. And we need to stop looking for it. What we can do is give the body better tools and better support, then give it time to respond. You are a miracle. Your body is the incredible part of this equation. We're simply giving it tools it can use to help you move forward towards the best life possible. LifeVantage is a pretty incredible vehicle. We're the only activation company, so we're not just competing in the supplement space. We're leading with an entirely different concept. We're still a relatively small company with around 60,000 consultants in the US, so the growth potential is significant. The company is debt-free and it provides a turnkey business model in a social selling environment with no inventory to carry and the opportunity to build leveraged income. But beyond the business model, I think the bigger question is, what do you actually want more of in your life? Is it better health, more income, more time and flexibility, purpose, passion, community, travel, fun, the ability to make a bigger impact? Maybe it's building something that becomes a real asset and a legacy you can pass down to the next generation. Everybody's answer is different. And that's what I like about this opportunity. It can be a vehicle for a lot of different things, depending on what you're actually looking for. We need more voices. And if that's you, you do not need a banker's box full of studies, and you do not need to be able to explain all of the science. You just need enough courage to ask someone to take a look at something and let the tool do the talking. That's really what it takes. We're looking for people who are willing to share, who are coachable, who are ready for something more in their life, and who can see that this could be a vehicle to help them create it. It really does start with yellow. This is our income disclosure statement because we want to be completely fair and transparent about what income can look like in this company. We are a publicly traded company listed on the NASDAQ. And so these numbers are right here for you to see. These ones in particular are in US dollars. At a senior consultant one, which is our sort of base consultant level, the average monthly commissions is $316. And just to give that number some perspective, if you were trying to generate $316 a month from an investment earning 5% annually, you would need about $75,840 invested. A managing consultant one, the average monthly income commission is $1,704. To generate that kind of monthly income from a 5% investment, you would need over $400,000 invested. A managing consultant three, we're looking at an average of $6,715. At 5%, that would require about $1.61 million invested. And then executive consultant one, or EC1. The average monthly commission is $14,489. To generate that same monthly amount from your investment, you'd be looking at investing approximately $3.48 million. I think that puts these numbers into a very different perspective. What would earning an extra $316 a month do for you? What about $1,700, $6,700, or $14,000? The answer to that is completely personal. Maybe income isn't even the main thing you're looking for. But if it is part of what you want more of, this gives you an idea of what building this business can potentially look like. When you look at this from a business standpoint, the first thing you're doing is purchasing a bundle of products to use for yourself. This is our business pack in Canada, but it's so much more than just products. You instantly have a website ready to go. You have corporate support behind you. You have mentorship from the person that invited you, as well as the entire team surrounding them. You also receive tickets to your first event because events are where so much of the leadership development happens. And then, of course, you become a product of the products. When you get the products into your own body, you start to have your own story to tell. You know what has changed for you and what you have personally experienced. And again, you have that confidence that if 10,000 people take it, 9,999 are anticipated to get the expected result. You're going to have results. Things are going to start changing inside of you. You just have to be aware enough to notice them. I'm only showing our business pack. We do have other options, but this is the one where you really get everything to get you started. So it starts with yellow. That's where your yes starts. It starts with yellow, and then you can keep going wherever you choose to take it. We're just so grateful that you took the time to listen and learn a little more tonight. So the question I'll leave you with is, where do you see yourself fitting in? Maybe you see yourself as a customer and you want to try the Healthy Glow Stack and see what your own glow up looks like. Maybe you're interested in both the business and the glow. Or maybe this for you just isn't personally for you. But as you listen tonight, somebody came to mind who you think we might be able to help. Wherever you fit in, it all starts with yellow.